there, y'all. I went for a walk today. Yes, I did. It's been a while, long time since I went on a really long walk. So I walked just shy of 14 miles today. PSA for anybody who's gonna, been in the house for a while and, COVID-19 rules still apply when we go out, even though we're doing I guess like if you were a nightclub or someplace, you call this like a soft opening. So Virginia's doing a soft opening today, where we just opened, a few businesses and people went nuts, it looked like. So I remembered my mask. Yay. I remember the hand sanitizer. I even had wipes. Yeah, I had water so that I would stay hydrated because it's been a while. I did not remember to bring the sunscreen. Anyone who's what we like to refer to as Gen X? Remember I Love Lucy? Yeah. Remember when Lucy got that sunburn right before she was supposed to wear like that Chanel suit that was tweed in a fashion show? And she kind of went down. So that's how I am right now. It's not tweed, but I'm schwitzing. It's hot inside my skin right now. So I was socially distant and safe from everything except I forgot about, the sun. Hey, Gail. So yeah, little sunburn happening tonight. So 2 stories that I'm going to read tonight are both Virginian-Pilot and from around 2012 and 2013. So the first one is Rebuilding Trust in the Police One Pawn at a Time. A race relations game change is underway in Norfolk because of little girls, police officers, and chess. I'm seeing it happen even as people say it's not possible to turn fear into friendship or the popo back into peace officers in a wary community. Not all cops are bad cops, just like not all kids are bad kids, Norfolk officer Antonio Barrera told a little girl who wore her cop-hating game face during our first chess session last month with officers at Lambert's Point Community Center. In 2010, members of the Norfolk Police Department were a fixture at our free learn and play chess program called the Norfolk Initiative for Chess Excellence. We play nice. Officers played weekly, just for an hour, with kids at various locations in Lambert's Point, Park Place, Lake Taylor, Ocean View. I invited them after I heard kids in those neighborhoods talk over a chess game about crime in their areas and their fear of the criminals and their fear of asking the police for help. Snitches get stitches, one little boy about age 7 had told me, confiding that he'd witnessed a home invasion but was afraid to tell anyone. He told me because I was his chess partner. My solution was to partner police and kids for chess sessions. After a few successful years, the police officers had less time to play nice, and sheriff's officers took the helm for a year. In the past year, though, violence across the nation involving law enforcement and African Americans resulted in chess room chatter, turning toxic whenever the subject of law enforcement came up. Seemed like an easy fix to just invite the officers back to our tables. However, when the squad cars rolled into the parking lot at the community center a month ago, a crush of humanity bolted to the front door. Just in time, I reached the space between the 2 incoming light-skinned officers and the entirely African-American crowd of about 15 young men. There I stood, in the gap that suddenly felt like a smoldering bridge between heaven and hell. All it would take was one person to stoke the fire, and the path to trust would be burned away before we could even get anybody on it. With my hands out on either side, as if I could generate a force field, I bellowed, "Nobody's getting arrested, nobody's getting shot. I invited them, They're here to play chess. Barrera, our new chess anchor, said in a slightly exaggerated, casual tone, "Yup, gonna play some chess here today. Anybody want to play?" His words fell on skeptical ears. Silence. Then a chorus of little girl voices, 6-year-old twins, and their 10-year-old friends rang out behind me, "Yay, chess! I'll play you!" As the little girls encircled the officers, my force field dissolved, and the place virtually emptied of young men. In the chess room, a 7-year-old girl entered late and became furious when she saw the officers. "I hate the police. They're bad guys. I can't play if they're here." The solution was bug house chess, also known as Siamese chess. Played on 2 boards by 4 players in teams of 2. Normal chess rules apply, except that a captured piece on one board is then passed to your partner on the other board, and they have the option of using it as if it was one of their very own. Each officer was partnered with a child. Each officer was also playing a child. Therefore, during each game, a child was both playing with and against an officer. It took 2 games before the same previously angry little girl was whispering strategies to her police partner and happily trash talking the officer opponent, as she would do with any player. When the boys saw through the window the little girls playing, they decided to get on board. Our ranks have rebuilt. Now, if the officers are absent, everybody gets worried for them, not just because of them. "Y'all need to go check on Officer Tony. Right now, you need to make sure he's okay," demanded a little girl who had wanted him gone day 1. These officers and children are building a fragile peace on a strategy that depends upon faith, trust, and chessboards. They're turning a dangerous game into a win-win. Oh my gosh, I miss our chess kids. Wednesdays are not the same. And everybody, once we're cleared of COVID-19 and are back rolling, there's going to be a whole lot of bagels and a whole lot of hugging and a whole lot of everybody there. So the second one, a little bit more upbeat. Hot in here? Yeah, those of us who are burning up. Woo, yeah, sun's still hot. Facts. So, a fruitcake in every family. This is from the Virginian-Pilot from December 29th, 2013. Only in Norfolk could there be a 101-year-old classic French bakery run by native Lebanese. So famed for its fruitcake that people travel from as far as Boston for the privilege of paying up to $85 for what in many families is an ongoing joke. See, I grew up thinking of fruitcake as either a sweet but nutty relative or a colorful paperweight that smells of molasses and can weld your teeth together because it used Depression-era candied fruit. Then our minivan failed inspection for bad tires, and the Granby Street tire man replacing them told my husband, "You might want to go grab a bite. This is going to take a while." Yay! I had always wanted to check out the tiny French bakery and deli next door to the tire place. I lured my husband with a promise of a quick cup of coffee and croissant. Yeah. We quickly learned that in the presence of Haifa Habib, 84, and her 2 sons, quick is just not a vocabulary word. Cheap is also a word you will not be tempted to use when you see the prices. Another word not on this menu is timid. As a native New Yorker who has spent time reporting in the Middle East, none of this puts me off, especially if I smell cultural adventure in a sugar and pastrami-scented air. Habib and her 2 sons, one runs the bakery, the other the deli, operate the establishment. If a Seinfeld episode and a Food Network special had a baby, it would be this place. if you can zip in and rush away with just a croissant, you have entirely missed the point of the journey of what an old school, old world, family-run business is all about. This is a holiday pilgrimage for those who revel in vibrant characters, cultural nuances, and real food that carries with it real diet guilt. I use butter, Mrs. Habib told my husband in her native Lebanese accent. It's tradition. I promised my father-in-law, who started this business, I keep that promise to follow the recipes and my sons after me. Butter. Okay. On one wall were framed articles celebrating the bakery's famous and award-winning fruitcake. 3 days after he died, my father-in-law, he passed me that fruitcake recipe, Mrs. Habib said triumphantly. For me alone, he wrote in Arabic that fruitcake recipe. We met a couple from San Francisco who played cello and violin for the San Francisco Opera Company. They were here to visit their son. I pity them. The weight of their luggage on the return trip. It will be laden with fruitcake so dense that the airport x-ray machines may burn out trying to see through them. In my family, fruitcake meant Grandpa getting a hacksaw in order to save the kitchen knives the humiliation of failure at cutting a slice. Habib fruitcake is the opposite of that. Willy Wonka would leave the candy business and put the Oompa Loompas into training with Mrs. Habib after trying just one bite. We left the bakery sated by stories, a hot pastrami sandwich to die for, a small fruitcake that was a spontaneous gift from the couple visiting from San Francisco, and a new zeal for baking. Now, I'm going to try making a fruitcake, so our sons will have their own story to tell about the sweet little brick in the Christmas family wall. Here's hoping my husband doesn't end up needing to buy a new hacksaw blade. Spoiler alert. That fruitcake was a non-starter. No siree. No. So, for fruitcake, you have to go to the French bakery. They will send them. And I hope that as soon as they open, we can all be there soon. Meanwhile, even though restaurants are partially opening with outdoor service, please, please, please wear a mask when you're out in public. Please yield the 6 feet of space for social distancing. I walked for 5 hours today. 5 hours. From ODU all the way down to the baseball stadium and back, and I took lots of side trips and back roads to avoid people because there were folks out there. And no. People just are not yielding the distance. They're not wearing masks. So I don't want to be in here for the rest of my life. I'm going to run out of material at some point. So let's nail this thing, people, okay? I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow night. Hopefully a few shades less red. Night.